Welcome to the Secret Cellar podcast, live here in the Secret Cellar green room. Well, the podcast isn't live, it's pre-recorded, but we're recording it and we're alive. Today on the Secret Cellar podcast, we have the guest, Huw Coverdale Jones. How are you doing, Huw?
I'm good. How are you?
Very good.
Yeah, it's nice to be in our own, green room.
Yeah.
It's very authentic, I think.
Yeah, this is where we spend most of our time.
This is where we avoid members of the public and responsibility. Yeah.
This is great. And so I guess you're on the podcast.
Yeah.
You're a main performer here at the Secret Cellar.
Yeah, man.
And you're here in Iceland and you're from the UK.
I am from the UK.
So what brought you to Iceland?
Yeah, good point. That's the best question everyone asks.
Yeah.
Well, I actually came here to do my master's.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been teaching English in Asia for a while, trying to be one of those people, and
you got the look.
I got the look, right? Yeah.
You have the look of someone who teaches.
And I hate the children, so I'm quite like a lot of them. So I was like, I'm gonna stop teaching children because I suck at it. I need to work out something else to do with my life. And I was looking at masters in Nordic countries because they're free or cheap. Yeah. And I got into one here, and I got into one in Sweden. I got into one in Norway, and just to the last minute, I picked here over Norway. It was really close. Yeah. And that was it, really.
What would you say that Norway? Norway that'd be crazy if you ended up there. I don't think you'd be doing stand up.
Well, maybe. I don't think I'd be. I
know they have stand up probably, but they don't even allow them to serve doubles at the bar. It's illegal.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I know
it's the most conservative country in Scandinavia.
I know they close their Vindbuvens at 3 p.m., which is are you
they have
not
dinner
still at work?
4. Yeah,
that's true. That's true. They're like extra English.
No,
people.
if you go to in Oslo, if you go I'll get a double gin and tonic, they serve you a gin and tonic and then they give you a shot and they're like, just go around the corner and don't tell anyone.
Right. Don't tell anyone we did this now.
We're being wacky.
I could imagine that though. But yeah, I don't know if we would have something like this in Oslo. If we were based in Oslo, I don't know if we'd have something like the Secret Cellar. I think Reykjavik is just small and just big enough that what we do here makes sense. And
people go out enough.
Yeah. People drink and enjoy their lives.
Can't do comedy at 4 p.m.
Yeah.
Everyone's what is it? Nordic skiing.
Yeah.
At 6 in the morning.
The course I got into in Sweden was peace and development studies, so I wouldn't have been able to make anyone laugh studying that.
What peace is funny?
Yeah. Do you want to come to my show where I make horrible jokes about mean things? Yeah. No, I find that grossly offensive. That's But
here, Reykjavik, nothing's offensive.
Well, it's, culture hasn't made it here, so.
Culture hasn't made it here. What are you talking about?
I'm just kidding.
They have beer stores.
They do have beer stores.
That's what they've relabeled as their culture.
Yeah, they got so many tap houses. It's
it's a craft beer haven.
Yeah.
Because when I think Iceland, I think barley. I think fields of barley.
That's what he's exactly right. You think,
the perfect climate for just farming.
You think that's probably like the Netherlands, but colder, and then it'd be great for beer. And then you get here and you're like, yeah, exactly, it was. Making lava-flavored beer in Hafnarfjord. I don't know. Yeah. Someone's probably doing that.
Yeah, they do every type of flavor. They do smoked whale testicle.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. How do you smoke a whale testicle? Aren't they gigantic? I just imagine.
Yeah, they're huge. Well, I know whales got massive dicks, right? And it's called a dork.
It's called a dork.
Yeah.
I know, because I remember when I got picked on as a kid, they'd be like, York the dork. And I'd be like, if you only knew.
If only knew. I'm floating over here.
I have a whale penis. But for some reason that didn't matter. It still hurt.
Yale penis, the whale penis doesn't work.
Yeah, exactly. But I guess I didn't do a full introduction. It should have been a little bit. You're an award-winning Reykjavik Fringe Festival comedian.
I love that you always introduce me as an award-winning comedian because I plan on riding on that award forever.
No. That's the Icelandic way.
Yes.
The Icelandic way is get in the newspaper once, and then just ride on that.
To be fair,
forever.
I didn't get in the newspaper. I just got an award, but I will get in the newspaper.
It's on our paper.
Yeah, it's on our paper.
And it was news to you.
It was. I was super surprised. What? You don't think you were there? Dan was there, and literally, Kimmy won the award before me, and I live with Kimmy. She wasn't there, so I said, "I'll take it home."
Kimmy Taylor is a comedian who performs here at the Secret Cellar. She also hosts a show at Goikeren called Free Flow Comedy.
Soul Flow comedy.
Sorry, it's the competitor. So
Free Flow.
Free Flow.
But and so I went, I'll take that. Mm-hmm. And then I went away, and then I heard someone go, Huw C Jones, because that's what I'm called on Facebook, I guess, professionally speaking. Yeah. And I went, what, did I win a fucking award? What? Yeah. And yeah, I had, and it was Spirit of the Fringe.
Huw C Jones, that's so smart.
I know.
I should have called you that, because I think for like a year I called you Cloverdale Jones.
Yes, you did. Yeah. And it's not even Coverdale, really. It's Coverdale.
It's Coverdale.
Yeah.
It's not even. It's not Coverdale.
Oh, it's one of those things where I'm being annoying though, because it's named after a place.
Yeah.
And that place is definitely called Coverdale.
Yeah.
but everyone in my family
Calls it Coverdale.
calls it Coverdale.
Okay.
Like, so it's one of the Yorkshire Dales.
Yeah.
Coverdale is one of the Yorkshire Dales.
One of the Yorkshire Dales.
Yeah.
And I'm messing it up, and my name's in it.
Yeah, right.
I feel like I have skin in the game.
There you go. And so if you go there, they're like, yeah, we're in Coverdale, and they don't call it Coverdale, but we do. I don't. Yeah.
See, like I've never, I don't know. In Canada, so many people pronounce things so like differently.
Yeah.
In so many different areas, just province to province, and just multicultural neighborhoods. I've never been a stickler for vowel sounds.
Oh, people think I'm Vietnamese sometimes when they see my name written down. They
Oh,
think,
yeah.
oh, that's like a British Vietnamese guy.
Oh yeah, like Huw.
Yeah, or something like that. And I was, because I see a therapist here because I'm a stand-up comedian.
Yeah.
So naturally I need a therapist.
Right.
And
you don't drink heavily.
no,
Yeah.
I did, and then I stopped and got a therapist.
Right.
But
yeah, that's part of the game.
there's to be fair, I'm lying. There was some crossover with the drinking heavily and the therapist, but you know. But
that's a transition.
yeah,
That's when
exactly.
you transitioned into a less heavy drinker.
Yeah, you don't go, that's my last whiskey therapy tomorrow. But
You
yeah.
do that in the morning sometimes. We're like, I'm never doing this again. But but then nighttime
and
hits.
then you need one around lunchtime and you have it. Yeah. But yeah, then I was outside her office for the first time, and she came out and said, "Ertu Huw?"
Yeah.
So are you Huw? Because if you're Icelandic, you'd say Huw if you saw it written down, I guess.
Yeah.
And I said, yeah. And she's like, oh, I was expecting an Asian.
Yeah.
And
You're
that's
like, funny enough, I taught those bastards a few years ago.
But it's not just here. Also, because even before I deleted Facebook and only had my professional page, I never had my picture if you weren't my friend. So when I joined Golden Gang, and signed up, Gisley said he found it really weird that I wasn't Chinese when I showed up. And I was like, and I was just kind of like, I mean, it's not a Chinese name, but not even weirder than that. Like 3 years before that, I was in London. I went to a uni where people studied Vietnamese and Malaysian, and I studied Chinese there, right?
Yeah.
And this guy was like, dude, are you Vietnamese Welsh? Because he saw my name written down. And I was like, well, look at me. No. I'm like, I'm just Welsh, but I'm not, again, because I'm from England. So that's extra confusing. But, yeah.
Yeah. Because you look like the comedians that are everywhere in the world.
Yes.
You got like you're our own hipster comedian. We have one.
Yes. You need one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you don't have Facebook.
Deleted
so
Facebook.
It's incredibly hard to tell you the lineup for the show.
Yes.
I think you have a private account of like 4 friends, and I'm one of them, just so you can know when you're on stage.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. And it was also because when I deleted Facebook, I ran Seatfiller.
Yeah.
And
Seatfiller was a show that we had here at the Secret Cellar for a bit, a game show.
A game show.
We tried out. That was
It's
good.
not dead forever, maybe.
It's not dead forever.
I won't make any promises right now, but it's not dead forever.
Yeah, we were trying so many things out just to see what we could do with the space.
And we were like, me and Dan came and did that. It was just we were the first ones to pitch a show.
Dan's
for
the guy
Cellar.
with the ticks.
Yeah, he was already been on. Maybe I don't know what order you're putting them out.
He'll be on first, and then we recorded 2 today. So never mind. You don't need to know behind the scenes,
behind the curtain.
Yeah.
But yeah. Actually, by the time I decided to stop doing it, I was actually quite happy with Seatfiller, to be fair.
Yeah.
Because every other show that's pitched to the Cellar was a stand-up show, and it wasn't. And I don't. But then all those shows were better.
And it was actually like workable. Like we get like every so often we'll get an idea where someone will be like, "Hey, I want to do like a kind of like a Saturday Night Live thing," and I'm like, "Saturday Night Live has a team of writers, and a production and stage crew. You're not gonna like, I'll just start it next Wednesday. We'll just start doing sketches." And I'm like, "Start doing sketches?"
Remember when we made sketches and we made 2 and we released 1?
It took so long.
It took so long. I was in every sketch that Golden Gang made, and there's no evidence of that, but I was. And sketches. That's the other thing as well. Like I don't really like sketch comedy, but I don't think it's easy. I don't like disrespect it. Yeah. But I think one of the reasons I don't like it is because I'm just like, no, it's too much effort. Like,
it's a lot of work.
Like stand-up comedy, I can show up hungover and do it.
I like that sort of like that's what my favorite job is, stand-up, just because I'm like I can always do that.
Yeah, right. And that's actually what my favorite comedian Stewart Lee has said quite a few times. Is like because he wrote a show called Jerry Springer the Opera. Yeah. He quit stand-up for 4 years, and he wrote this show, Jerry Springer the Opera, that was a massive hit. Yeah, that was also completely and utterly attacked by the Christian right in Britain for so long that he had to go to court and spend all of his money he'd made from it on keeping it in theaters.
Oh Jesus!
So then people was that's good, but then people were scared to put it on in New York and Sydney and places it would have gone, and he would have made loads and just never had to work again. So he had to do stand up again, and he felt bad because he quit stand up, and he's like one of the best stand ups ever, by the way. he'd quit, and he
What's
literally
his name?
Stewart Lee.
Stewart Lee. Yeah.
He's great, and he was like, oh fuck, I've got to go back to stand up. Then he did stand up for like a month. I was like, why the fuck did I do musical theatre? Like stand up's way easier than musical theatre.
That's funny because everyone I talk to in the other art forums, they always say that stand up's the most terrifying.
Well, it is in a way. I mean,
the cool thing about stand up is like you'll meet like a rock star, like you'll meet like a guy who's like on stage and just like girls are like, woo.
Yeah.
He's like, man, I wish I was a comedian. And I was like, I wish I was you.
Yeah.
Or just that guy. I wish I was anyone else.
Yeah. I'd like to be the road tech. But like apparently Bono met David Baddiel in the UK and said to him, oh no, stand-ups are like the top of the ladder in art. And David Baddiel said, please don't try it. But Bono,
please, Bono, you've done enough.
It would be like that scene in Extras. Oh no, is it Life's Too Short when Liam Neeson wants to be a comedian? It would be like that.
AIDS.
And it would be the same accent, just slightly different because they're both Irish.
Oh, that'd be great. But do you find that do you find that when you're doing stand up and you're thinking of it as a career maybe, or you want it to be successful,
I do want it to be successful.
That you're always also trying to think of other things that you can be doing? Because I know a lot of comedians because once you start doing stand up, it is just repetitive. And you have to be on stage, going over the same stuff, getting better at it.
Yeah.
And some nights the stuff that made you a king just makes you look like an idiot.
Yeah.
And just doing that over drives people crazy. And they're always maybe I should be an actor, or maybe
No, I don't really do that.
Okay.
I don't really do that. But I do with my day job, sit around and be like, I need a day job that I can do at home. Mm-hmm. So when I want to stop doing it and write jokes for 15 minutes, I can. Mm-hmm. And I don't have that right now. And I am trying to work on that plan. So, because my day job pays pretty well and it's good.
Yeah, I think you're the only comedian who owns a house.
Yeah, I am the only comedian who owns a house. Though I haven't paid off the full loan yet, and this is Iceland.
Yeah. Crash is coming.
Yeah, right. But I do like having like this well-paid job, but it takes a lot of my time, takes a lot of my energy. I'm always a bit like, I need something else sometimes, and I do, but I don't like. It's weird to me when I see like a comedian presenting TV, and I just think, well, you've got some of the same skills, but comedian's better than TV presenter. Comedian's better than that. And I do, in a really pretentious way, I do think comedy's harder than nearly everything else. Yeah. Not necessarily stand-up, but just comedy in general. Being funny is harder than drama. It's way harder than drama.
I think that way. Like when you read like a novel that's just like a misery novel, you're like, I could write misery. Yeah. He's like, then he punched me again, and the blood was everywhere.
Yeah. Like that one, Precious. Yeah. I was like, oh, that must be based on a true story. It's not. I was like, oh, then it's just a guy thinking of what are all the sad things could happen to someone. Yeah.
There's never any irony or funny or trick to it or anything like that.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. And Armando Iannucci, who wrote like The Death of Stalin, he's always like, comedy's a different way of looking at things. I'm like, it's like the best way of looking at things, because if you take it seriously, life is so depressing. So I want to hear about Beria from a funny point of view, like Lavrenti Beria Stalin's guy, because Lavrenti Beria was terrifying and he controlled half of Russia.
And everything is ridiculous.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and everything he did was mental. Yeah. But just it also happened to be a bit dark, but it can be funny. It
is like an attitude thing. I think that's mostly when people get offended. If you get offended at an amateur comedian, then you're just looking to get offended because they don't know what they're doing. But if it's a professional comedian who's constructed something, if you're getting offended, it's just an unwillingness to take a different look at things. You want to be stuck in this place.
Because I do think, because I am like typical liberal hipster dude, as you can see me, right? Yeah. But I do also think, oh, maybe Ricky Gervais isn't actually racist.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Or the biggest problem.
Yeah, maybe, exactly, as well. So, maybe Joseph Kony was worse than Ricky Gervais.
I would say so.
Yeah. Maybe Idi Amin.
How did we get back? We mentioned Kony on the last podcast.
Did you? Okay, maybe that's why he's in my mind.
Jerking off in San Diego.
I heard about him in 2012, like everyone else did, and then I read Christopher Hitchens' book. Yeah. And then he talks about him in way more detail. I was like, holy fuck.
Yeah, I remember the Vanity Fair article by Christopher Hitchens just being like, Jesus. Yeah. Child soldiers, that is sad.
Yeah, right? And you think, I'm probably not going to put that in my act, but it's nice to look at it from a comedic point of view, I hope.
Yeah. Child soldiers from a funny point of view. Yeah. It's wacky.
But then I also find
Because like if you were fighting child soldiers and,
Yeah.
and you were shooting them, you'd get a lot more headshots.
Yeah. Oh, easy.
Yeah,
You wouldn't have to.
they're
Lift
so low.
Yeah, you wouldn't have to lift it so high.
Yeah.
You know?
Okay.
Okay.
on.
We did it. We did it. We made it funny. But I do. I say we. You did most of the work. But
I'm used to it.
I do think. Yeah, I know. I can't even remember what my thought was, but it doesn't matter. But with like, I do also think with comedy, tension's quite funny.
Yeah.
So a lot of comedy is nearly offensive.
Yeah.
But what a lot of shit comedy is just a guy goes, "This is offensive," and
Yeah.
you go, "Yeah, we know." You know,
Because that's always the other side. Like, because we're at the comedy club, we're here in the green room, and
Yeah.
like a comedian will come back, or like not a comedian, just a person who's trying it out for the first time. He'll be like, "Oh, they hated me," and I'm like, "It's because you weren't being funny.
Right.
You just basically said, hey, I'm not allowed to say this. What if I say
Yeah.
it?" And then it's like this It's almost childish. There's an Icelandic word for it. I don't know what it is, but it's like the teenager syndrome. Like,
yeah,
you
that they all have.
they all have every single one of them.
Every single one of these. Like, nah, I love Iceland. I'm just joking, but I do think, yeah, and I do. There are comedians I've seen who are like, "Oh, I was censored."
Yeah.
And I'm like, you weren't censored, you were shit.
Yeah.
Okay, like, and you're not always shit. You just were then. You know, and I do. Or even it's not even you were shit. It's just you did it slightly wrong that night, and
Yeah.
it didn't go as well as it did last time.
Yeah,
You know, like, and that's it.
Yeah.
You know,
Buck up and show up tomorrow.
yeah, and there was definitely, I can't remember, there somebody famous was on, like, I think it was one of Rogan's mates. It was on Rogan.
Yeah.
Was saying how you can't say this, you can't say that. I was like, you're paid to say that.
You're saying it right now.
Right. You know, like, so
You're on one of the most successful podcasts in history.
Now,
Well, I think the most successful.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm just about, it's okay that he's not lying in a certain way, because people are going, "Oh, you can't say that to him," but
Yeah.
I'm like, but evidently you can.
Yeah.
like, it's in
I'm
front
hearing
of you.
it. It's in my ears.
Yeah, and I do find that a bit tedious. But like, at least that guy's like a pro. It's when someone's like just starting it and they think, "Oh, I'm going to do a joke, and it's going to be trans people are evil,"
Yeah.
and then no one laughs, and you go, "Well, first up, trans people are evil, not a joke, just a sentence." Like, here's a few reasons why it didn't work. It's not just that it was lazy.
Yeah.
You know, like,
There's
you know.
no structure to it at all.
Yeah,
They're
yeah.
just like, what the hell? I just can't say that. Yeah. Okay.
God, that guy who said that last week's gonna be really mad at me when he sees this. But you know,
Whatever. Fuck
yeah.
him. I don't think he listens to criticism or podcasts.
No.
Or he'd be a lot smarter.
Yeah,
That's what I say.
yeah.
But you moved here. You're doing a master's in, what did you do your master's in?
Environment and natural resources with a specialization in renewable energy economics and policy. There you go.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's a great place to do it.
Yes, it's the right place to do it for sure.
This is a place that has renewable energy and also seems to not care about wasting energy.
In fact, yeah, well, I waste energy all the time, and I studied it. You know, like, what I will say is actually, in fact, is I studied that because I'm terrified of the future from an environmental point of view.
Yeah.
And I didn't really know much about it scientifically. That's why I came and studied it. But also I studied renewable energy because I was like, maybe I can build like a house in the middle of nowhere in Iceland that's got geothermal heating and
Survive the apocalypse.
Yeah. And but as also I need like a micro hydro plant so I can still play video games. You know, because I don't live a survivalist lifestyle. I like video games and podcasts. You know, like
I love all of the technology. I just don't like what it's doing to the world.
yeah. There's a lot of that.
But you're moving here as like a young man getting his master's.
Yeah.
You're a comedian. You're funny. You're out all the time. You're meeting people.
Yeah.
But you're also single.
Yes.
What is it like? What is it like dating people in Iceland?
Oh, you know, right now it's fine.
Oh, it's going good.
No, it's going pretty well. So yeah, I got dumped in January.
Yeah.
But even before that, I was in an open relationship, so I was still kind of dating.
Being an open relationship is like half dumped.
It's like half dumped, but we started in an open relationship, so it's like half never getting into it, I guess.
Yeah.
You know? But no, I actually would defend. I actually don't think open relationships are such a crazy idea. But ours was basically defined by the fact that we didn't really do it very much, the openness, because we were busy and knackered. So when we had needed to see someone, it was usually the person who already knew.
I could be fucking someone else, but I'm too goddamn lazy.
Yeah, exactly. But also, who you already like, the person you like already.
Yeah.
You know, like
It's a lot of effort to go like, okay, do I like this person? Yeah.
And then of course I was single for like 3 months. Oh, well, no, like I've been single since then, but I was like for the first 3 months I was being like therapeutically single.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, I can
Okay.
sleep with whoever I want, you know, and that's nice. But then I was, I'll say I don't have any secrets. Right now, I have about 3 women in my life. There you go. That's what it's like being single in Iceland. And,
because Iceland, Iceland famously, like everyone talks about, tourists talk about, it's a fuck first culture. There seems to be a thing where you go out, you sleep with someone, and then you decide if you're going to date them.
Yeah,
which is nice. It's kind of what's it called? It's like it's very like farm like.
Yeah,
like you want to test the horse before you buy it.
Well, that's what they used to do in Wales. This is a true story, and Greg Davis talked about it. It was not a big deal to be pregnant out of wedlock in Wales until quite late on because it was such a rural area. It was barely Christian, really. They didn't give a shit. Yeah. What was normal was meeting a girl you liked and sneaking into her farm and having sex with her. Yeah. So her dad didn't know. So there was still some taboo. Yeah. But then if she got pregnant, you went, married. We're getting married. I want like 7 kids to work on my farm. Yeah. That was normal, right? That's probably what Iceland's like too. A little bit. Like, I don't know.
It seems like that.
Or at least it was once upon a time.
Because it's got the highest rates of chlamydia. It's not a big condom place.
No. I use them though because I was born in the first world. I don't know.
What? There is no third world anymore.
That's true.
Because the Soviet Union collapsed.
Yeah.
God damn it.
There's just 2 second worlds. It's weird.
Yeah, you're tied for second, guys.
Double silver.
Definitely like a millennial.
That's what they should call it, the silver and gold world.
You guys are in silver world.
That's what that'll make you sense of why America's so paranoid about China right now. It's like, we're the gold medal holders, and China's like, soon it'll be us. We're already catching up in the literal gold medals at the Olympics. But yeah, no, it's not. I slept with one Icelandic woman who said, I don't like condoms. Icelandic men never use them. And I was like, well, what you're saying to me there is you should use a condom.
What I'm getting from this conversation is I should definitely wear a condom.
Yeah. It's you can have sex with me and it'll be like having sex with 26 other guys. Something like that. And that's fine. I just prefer
not getting chlamydia.
Yeah.
Which is just, I think, a weakness in your character. It's like, what, 2 pills? Big deal.
Yeah, it's true. An injection in the butt sometimes, I think.
Ooh.
Yeah. My friend got gonorrhea in Beijing.
Oh, nice.
And when he went for the treatment, he took a friend with him, and they were just about to do the butt injection, and he just went, hey man, I need you in here. So the guy walked in just as this needle went into his butt. And he just was like, and he's like, what? Why did you need me? He was like, oh, I just wanted you to see that.
Check it out, I'm getting butt injections.
Yeah, and then that same guy, towards the end of, because he was a uni friend, in my final year, he just went, I might have chlamydia. No. And then he went, no, I'm just kidding. And then the other guy left. Yeah. And he said, that guy's a massive gossip. I might have chlamydia. And I just went, oh, use a condom. Yeah.
Oh, it's always funny when someone says chlamydia at like a bar here. Like you'll be at Cafe Ben, one of the famous bars here. And someone will say chlamydia, and then you'll see like 4 heads pop up, and you're like, oh, they're all sleeping together.
Yeah, right.
What?
I'm barely in Cafe Bar, but I do like that kind of 3 a.m. feel when you're there, just every now and then, and everyone's squashed against each other, and you
and it's just feel like a hallway of former mistakes.
Yeah, and you can't walk past them. You have to go like this into.
Sorry to bother you again.
Yeah, I remember being stuck in the smoking area there fairly recently, at like 2 a.m. I don't normally, as you know, I don't normally stay out after about 1 a.m.
Yeah.
I think you were there actually eventually when I left,
That was the old York.
Yeah, I was a different guy.
Different guy.
But
that's the worst thing about having my name.
It's
because like in Iceland, everyone has the same names. Like it's always like
if you were Baldur, it'd be fine. Yeah,
Jon, Baldur, all these different names. Yeah. They kind of like they're like, which one? Oh, I don't know. But like York, they're like that York.
The York.
The York.
Damn it. Yeah. I don't. Yeah, because you stand out in the UK too, even though it's a city there.
No, York is like
it's not normal.
I got like it's like being a boy named Sue.
Yeah,
my dad named me so forever.
Did you like you got a sister and a brother or more than one?
Yeah, I can't remember. I got an older brother and a younger sister.
Yeah, do they have weird names?
No, Timothy and my sister. Oh shit, I can't remember my sister's name. No, because my no, it's not like that. No, my sister was born Colleen Mavorning Underwood.
So that's kind of weird. The middle name's kind of weird.
It's like an old Irish name, I guess.
Yeah, I suppose.
It's one of those names I think that like
I have an old Welsh
American Irish people name their kids, but Irish people no longer name their
kids.
Right.
It's
one of those things. So like when they come to like, hey, I got this Irish name, they're like, that's not Irish.
And they pronounce it wrong.
Mavorning is not Irish. That's an old name.
Yeah.
They're terrible. But then my sister, she changed her name to Henrietta.
Okay,
Yeah,
fair enough.
So she's Henrietta Colleen.
That's a posh lady name in the UK. That's like because then you'd be nicknamed Hetty.
Yeah.
Like, oh, it's me and Hetty are going. Yeah. It's one of those kind of names. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know why I don't know what she said. It was there's a reason for why she changed her name. I just think she might have like identity disorder or something.
Yeah, fair enough. But I guess because York is quite a unique name. I don't know anyone called York. And then
no, like I know like Waite's called York.
Yeah.
And like stuff like that. Like it's like an industrial name, but it works.
I have a friend called Tarquin. He's a really nice guy. But by the time he had a younger brother, they called him Ben. And I was like, Tarquin to Ben is a step down.
You're just a Ben now.
Yeah, and what's funny as well is Tarquin. You think of a Tarquin, you think of a character from like a Jeeves and Wooster novel or Oscar Wilde.
Yeah.
He's a 7 foot tall metalhead. It's when he's great. And
Tarquin.
Yeah, Tarquin.
That's a great name.
Yeah, I know. I love him.
Ben.
I haven't seen him for a while. To be fair, he's like a PhD in archaeology now. I feel like you'd expect a PhD in archaeology to be like a Tarquin.
Yeah, exactly.
A little bit, like,
and also secretly a metalhead.
Yeah, and also
any of those like PhD guys, they always have something like.
I'm thinking of doing one. I love metal, so Are you
gonna do one here?
Maybe. It's
because you've bought a house here.
I have bought a house.
So you're kind of like you're invested in.
I am invested in this place.
Yeah, you're in Iceland.
Yeah.
And so do you know the language?
Yeah, no. I know a very small amount, and I did one course 2 years ago.
Yeah.
I keep meaning to rectify it and not rectifying it, and I don't know.
I know I've been here for 4 years. I haven't.
Yeah, me 4 years too.
I just waver back and forth. Like I'll know a little bit, then it disappears. But now, like my girlfriend now, she's got 2 kids.
Yeah. So you need to speak a bit, really.
No, I'm learning more. I don't need to speak anything.
Yeah.
Kids understand everything. Like they just go like, "Can I go on the PlayStation?" They say that, and I go like, "Yeah." Yeah.
They ask permission. That's nice.
Yeah. So like, because they know they're not allowed to at certain times, but I always let them because I'm like, okay.
Just leave me alone.
I don't know what to do.
Well, I speak 3 languages. I kind of feel like I should have taken up. Also, English people who live abroad are always not learning the language, and I was always going. I lived in China and Taiwan and Korea, and I was always like, I'm not gonna be one of those pricks. I'm gonna learn Chinese. I'm gonna learn Korean. And then now I'm here and I haven't done it.
Yeah, this whole area in Iceland it's because it's like an airport hub.
Yeah.
Like, it's like being in an airport. Everyone speaks English.
Yeah.
And they also because they're so particular, they're not used to immigrants.
No.
So they're not used to people learning the language and having their own little like accents and stuff. They just can't hear you. You can say the word where to anyone who listens, they're like, "Yep, that's the word." But when you say it, they're like, "No idea what you're talking about." You have every inflection, every vowel. Yeah.
Yeah, I can get most people's names sort of okay, and I can say most of the towns okay. Then every now and then, like I moved to Seatfiller, and every time I say that, I'm saying it wrong, and I definitely just said it wrong then. And everyone just goes, "Where?" And I go, "Oh, just that place that's after Vesterbyre."
The little tip place.
And they go, "Oh yeah." Yeah. Or I say it in English. I say, was it the peninsula of the seal pond?
Yeah.
Which is pretty much what it means. Apparently. I don't even know that.
I love doing that. Like, it's been like, I live in Smoky Bay.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I live in Smoky Bay.
And like
just up from the harbour fjord.
Fjellkonen, like the restaurant.
Yeah.
Mountain Lady. Yeah. I'm going to have lunch at Mountain Lady.
But I find that's quite interesting because just in English, you're used to not knowing what a town name means.
Yeah.
But I used to live in China, and if you speak Chinese, you know what it means because it's always boring. So Beijing means North Capital.
Yeah.
It's boring. Tokyo in Japan, that means East Capital.
Yeah.
They all just mean something like that. And in Korea, they're a bit more lost, but they still have the character names.
But
so
a lot of North American names because they stole the land from the Aboriginals, the indigenous people, and then just used their words.
Yeah,
Chicago,
and said them wrong.
Chicago, Cincinnati.
Yeah, but then you got a few Londons, haven't you, in North America?
Yeah, London, Ontario.
I think there's one in New England somewhere too.
Yeah, I think so. Is there a London, Ohio?
I feel like there should be.
I think there should be. That'd be great.
But and you've got, I don't know, but you've got that kind of mix because I kind of like that when someone's so white and they're from somewhere that's called like Chickataqua or something like that, and you're like,
the name's Samson from Chickataqua.
Yeah, and you just go, okay.
That sounds stolen.
Do you live in someone else's TV? What's going on?
It's terrible. But but we have to talk a little bit about you're an award-winning, fringe performer.
Yeah.
Your style, because stand-up is new here, and the comedians are all kind of getting into what their style is.
Yeah.
And definitely because it's easier to travel to Europe, a lot of people like the fringe style,
Yeah.
or even British style humor is very popular here. If you
Yeah.
know, Icelanders.
I went to Bill Bailey the other day. It was massive.
No, that is a British
Yeah.
comedian.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's true. Oh, right.
Icelanders have like this thing with Monty Python, and whenever Icelanders are being funny, they talk in funny voices.
Yeah, that's true. They
It's-
do the British thing.
They do the British thing. They don't really have like the American style of stand-up where it's just like, you know, set up punchline, this sort of thing. That's kind of newer here, even for comedy. But you have a kind of a mixture of all of it.
Yeah, I suppose, but that's partly in Britain. So stand-up was terrible in Britain for years. It was really bad. And I don't think that's a controversial statement. I think a lot of comedians would agree with me.
Yeah.
And essentially what happened was we had guys who only did set up punchline one-liners,
Yeah.
but they were all racist.
Yeah.
And it's fine, do what you want. But they were all racist. So a certain groups of people were like, I don't really like this.
Yeah.
And then
I feel like I'm at a rally,
Yeah.
not a comedy show.
And then I don't know what happened. Maybe like a tape showed up somewhere and
Yeah.
it was Lenny Bruce or something.
Yeah.
And a load of people like Alexi Sale
Okay.
see that and they do what we call alternative comedy
Yeah.
in the UK.
Mhm.
And I'd say alternative comedy in the UK is just what comedy already was in the US and
Yeah.
Canada, probably. You know, like it's just conversational. It's kind of about the performer. It's kind
Yeah.
of, you know, it's less, you know, hit with
Yeah.
just one-liners. And those guys used to have a chalkboard backstage
Yeah.
with the jokes. They shared the jokes and they said, all right, well, Bernard's doing these ones. Mike, you're doing these ones.
Yeah.
And they divided them up.
And they
So
break 'em up,
yeah,
yeah.
they didn't write their own jokes,
Yeah. 'Cause
really.
these ones work.
Yeah. So they didn't write them. They just did them. And
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, some of them were written, but, you know, generally, yeah. And I think that's interesting because then that then plays into, I think, the fringe style of the British fringe style where then now you go to the fringe. I love the fringe because there are people who would never work at the Secret Cellar but hilarious at the fringe.
Yeah.
I saw a guy do ambient stand-up at the fringe, right? And it was amazing. Like, it was really good.
Okay.
But I was like, he can't do that. Like tonight's show is like, if it gets a 20-minute spot tonight,
Yeah.
he can't really do
Yeah.
that.
It doesn't
You
have
know?
the context to pull that sort of thing off.
But I think that's interesting. So I think kind of what it was it was a really working class. This early style was really working class,
Yeah.
and this later style was really artsy.
Yeah.
And we're now at a balance with that in Britain. And I don't know in Iceland because I feel like we have a bit of that going on where there's an artsy stand-up comedy scene that we're not really in,
Yeah.
and then there's our club style scene.
Yeah.
And yeah,
Yeah, there's people doing there's definitely different types of performances,
Mm.
and then when it comes to in Icelandic,
yeah.
a lot of it is actors doing monologues.
Yeah.
They're not really doing the stand up.
No, yeah, and that used to happen at Montreal though, because Montreal was how you got into a sitcom. So
Yeah.
actors would learn a monologue
Yeah.
and go and pretend to be a stand-up comedian at the Montreal just for laughs.
Just for last
in like the 90s. Yeah,
yeah, they'd
and
be like, UK invasion, and then they come
Yeah.
on stage and be like, "Hello, I'm from Britain."
yeah. Oh, and that was great because you had stuff that was just so British and didn't work, right? So you had Vic Reeves go there,
Yeah,
and he did just a bit he did all the time with
Yeah.
Bob Mortimer, and it was I've got a lucky charm. And
Yeah.
Bob Mortimer goes, "That's great. You've got something that brings you luck." And he goes, "Yeah, it's a carpet." And he brings out a 34-foot roll of carpet, and he has it on his shoulder,
Yeah.
and sings a song about how it's lucky. And all these Canadians look at him and go,
this isn't a joke.
"Yeah, right, yeah." Like he's like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" And that's kind of more in the Monty Python style. It's less stand up, but
Yeah, it's surreal, absurdist.
yeah.
Yeah,
I don't. For me, because I'm not patriotic. I don't live in my own country.
no,
I am about comedy. I do think we do it better than most other countries.
Yeah.
But for me, like, I do. So I'm coming and I'm doing one-liners. I think just one-liners are the best types of jokes. But
Yeah.
then I find when I'm trying to fill an hour for a fringe show, I
Mhm.
can't just do one-liners, and
Yeah,
I've got
yeah.
to stick some stuff in.
yeah,
So everything starts with one-liners. But then I stole a lot of my presentation from Stewart Lee because I love him, you know, and he gets really annoyed when people do that. But I did it, you know. But
you have like the I'm always admiring your confidence, because when you go on stage, you're not afraid of silence,
no,
because you're a lower energy comic,
yeah,
and you're always going, my writing is good, this will work.
yeah.
I never feel like you go like selling it. You always deliver it in the way you're going to deliver it, and the timing's good, but you never try and like push it on the audience.
No, yeah, that's true. I'll tell you why. It's because not me necessarily believes that, but he does. The guy on stage, he sounds like I'm crazy, but he is a different aspect of me.
Yeah.
And he is like, no, this is good. and I'm good at this. And if these people don't like it, they are idiots. Like he's got
very British.
Yeah, he's got all three of those things happening.
Because the American style is very much a car salesman. Oh, you don't like this? I can go faster.
Yeah.
I can yell.
But then when I started, I was kind of like I am now. I was doing stand up like this, and I'd forget material a lot, so I kind of slowed it down.
Yeah,
and I think even when I first came here, I wasn't quite like what I am now.
Mm-hmm.
And it was when I started doing weekly in 2016. I kept coming back with new stuff, but most of it was shit. Like it wasn't really going anywhere. And one day I just went, all right, tonight I'm just going to write one-liners.
Yeah.
And anything that's technically a joke, I'm going to write. And I'm going to say it. And I wrote about 12 and about 7 were all right. And that's kind of when I started doing it the way I do it now.
Yeah.
And I do think one-liners, it sounds like a puritanical thing, a purist thing.
Yeah.
They are the best jokes. Like they are the best jokes.
They're the cleanest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they are like in my head. So the longer something gets, the less funny it gets.
Really?
So,
okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So
the more it has to have more to like. The longer something goes on, the more you better have. There better be a payoff.
Yeah, and there better be tags.
Yeah.
See, in a way, writing something longer if you've only got one punchline is annoying. you know,
it's super annoying.
I mean, I do a joke that's quite long and only has one punchline, but like. Which again, this is the thing Stewart Lee does. Not just him, but you know,
Norm Macdonald does it too.
Yeah, and you just kind of go, "Oh, this hasn't been funny for 5." Oh, okay.
You asshole.
Yeah, Stewart Lee's a lot braver than I am. He does it for like 35 minutes, and then there's a payoff, and you go, "Fucking hell, dude." But like, I do think, like to me, I think. If it's funny in one sentence, then you can make it bigger afterwards. But it sort of has to be funny in one sentence.
Yeah,
you know,
I think
like
boiling everything down to expand it is always the trick for me.
Yeah, definitely. I think, and but I actually, in a way, I know I'm saying this now. I don't think that's that hard from a writing point of view.
Why is it? It's very hard. It sounds to me.
Okay.
Because most people, when they try and tell you something funny, they go, "No, but you need to know this." Or, "No, you need to know this." Yeah. If you know Sarah, you have to know her. This is how she is.
Right.
There's so much stuff to boil down into the essence of a joke or a sentence.
I guess when I say it's not hard, no, it is, because I've got like 3 pages on a Word document at home, and less than a page is really probably going to end up in a set, you know, like, so it is hard in that way. But I find if you write everything that's roughly a joke down, then eventually a few of them are okay. Like, and the more you do it, the better you get at it, you know. But I won't pretend it's easy, but I don't know if it's as difficult as it might seem. But I'm saying this now.
Actually, now that I think about it, this fucking whole thing is a fraud.
Yeah,
it's all been easy.
Yeah, but then I'm saying that.
It's
but like
ruse.
2 weeks ago, I was doing free writing.
Yeah.
And then I was going back to the free writing and trying to take jokes out of it.
Yeah.
And I'm in therapy, like I said, and the free writing was all really raw emotional therapy stuff, which isn't really in my act. Like, if you watch my act, I'm not that personal. And
no, you're very
because I'm
cold.
British. Like, I'm British, right? I'm a British person. You know, it's what we're like. And so I was like, I can't use any of this. I've just wasted 4 days of writing. And I was really emotional, being like, I'll never write stand-up again. I can't write stand-up. I can never do it again. I can never ever do it again. And that was going on, and then I just had to go and do some heavy breathing and come back and go, well, okay, actually, this is quite funny. I can turn this into a joke, and this is quite funny, actually.
Yeah, but how do you like? Because there's a big change with you when you're doing your show, like Someone Else's Sadness, which is the name of your fringe show.
Yeah,
you have, like you said, you have the you on stage that tells these jokes in this way. But when you host a show, you tell the same jokes, but you become a host. Where you're warm and you're getting people involved, and you're also, even though people think it might be the liberal hipster comedian, when people heckle you, you do not hold back.
No, I don't. No, I don't. No.
Yeah.
Part of the heckling thing is I feel like there's partly we've told you the rules. You know, like we've told you the rules.
Go fuck yourself.
You know what the rules are. You know, like I don't have to be nice to you. You know, it's a bit like that. I do, but then like I say, real me feels bad about it. Like when I'm on stage, I feel bad if I said something horrible to someone.
Really?
But the on stage guys are like, no, this guy needs to shut up. You know, like, and
you feel bad afterwards when you get off stage?
I will definitely feel bad afterwards.
No.
Yeah. It's just it's a nightmare being me.
But that's why therapy helps.
There's one thing I would say is, as the host, I should try and tell a lot fewer of my actual act jokes.
Yeah.
And I try and do more just, well, I'm the host. I'm going to try and be funny, but I'm mostly going to just talk to you guys a bit.
And set the table.
Yeah, a little bit like that. And I was crap at that for a while. I'm okay at it these days. I'm an all right host, I think. I do it. But I definitely prefer being an act to a host.
Yeah.
And I definitely prefer that version of me on stage. I find the host one, you know, he's doing a host thing. He's a bit eager to please, which is fine. A host is meant to try and get you over. You know?
And like if someone does, like, because we have it, like if you're hosting, because you've hosted the Wednesday nights, we sometimes have 20 people attempting comedy. And it goes up and down and back.
And it's like experienced people bringing something they wrote that morning. Like so no one's necessally guaranteed to like get a hit. You have to go
on stage and be like, it's okay, guys. There's another one coming.
Yeah,
and it could be just as bad.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's to be fair. Yeah, that's. I do find hosting the Wednesdays a lot harder than hosting the Saturdays. You know, the Saturdays are pretty easy to like.
You know, it's a structure that it's a Saturday show. People are out for a comedy
and
show.
I think people get that structure quite well. I think the Saturday works because it's 5, 10, 15, 5, 10, 15. It sort of works. People understand what's going on. And
it works really well. Like, when we go to other places and we use the same structure, it works.
Yeah. And I'd say in Britain, you have a similar structure in quite a lot of shows. You know, like, I guess it does also feel like the host that wouldn't really say the jokes.
Yeah.
the act, Huw.
Yeah.
He means those things, even though they're nonsensical and they're not from my real life.
Yeah.
Nearly none of them are from my real life. You know, the host wouldn't say that. He'd say he'd be a bit more the guy who talks about how clocks are weird. You know, like or whatever, airplane food. You know, like
he has to be a little more like relatable, but not switching the audience into a weird mood.
Yeah, and he's not trying to make use of the distance. Like the comedian's kind of, he wants that tension and that distance there. Yeah, I think. Yeah, I'd say so, that because that tension is what he can use to make people laugh, whilst the host is trying to get people to laugh
with him.
Yeah,
we're all in this together.
All, you know, and the next guy's coming up and be nice. You know, like.
And so with this, when you're writing your act, are you throwing out someone else's sadness, or do you constantly like use ones that work and build on it, or are you starting a whole new new show?
I threw out 2 years of Dry Misery, which I did at the first Reykjavik Fringe. I did throw all that out. Yeah. I say threw it out. I retired it. Whatever. I'll tell one joke from it every now and then, but I did say, no, you're writing a new show for next year. Yeah. And then I wrote, instead of 45 minutes, which was my aim, I wrote 35. Yeah. And I haven't watched it back yet. I keep meaning to watch it back and say, what am I keeping? Yeah. I'm going to keep at least 20, I think, maybe 15.
And then build on.
And then add another 20, hopefully. Yeah. And then I have a full show, just about. And so I'm actually going to call next year's Sadness Part 2 or something like that.
Okay. Someone else's sadness. Part 2.
Well, the title is Hipster Melancholy.
Hipster Melancholy.
But I was thinking of calling it something like Sadness Part 2 Hipster Melancholy or something like that.
Oh, that's
great. Just because it's annoying, but it's kind of, you'll probably remember the name. I try with a title for it. I don't know. That one's not quite good enough yet. I don't know what I will eventually call it. Yeah. But I try it to go, okay, it's a good title. Maybe someone will come. Yeah. So 2 years of Dry Misery, I thought was a good title, and it was, and people came, so it did all right. And Someone Else's Sadness, I thought was also quite good. Yeah,
that's a good name. And you won an award.
Yeah, and I won an award.
A Spirit Award.
Spirit Award. We haven't really mentioned that wasn't for the show yet.
Because it's like one of the saddest names of a show, but you won the Spirit Award.
Yeah, that's quite good.
That's way funny.
Yeah. Yeah, but I actually won it for just being nice and helpful. That's what the Spirit of the Fringe Award was for. Yeah. But I will still put it on my poster next year. Don't worry. Yeah. Yeah.
But you're performing tonight?
I am performing tonight.
Yeah, there's a show tonight. It's the Funniest Four.
Funniest Four. Looking forward to it.
Yeah.
It's always fun.
Thanks for being on the podcast.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
Yep. So that was Huw Coverdale Jones. The Secret Cellar has shows every night of the week. We have Monday, The Magic Viking. Tuesdays, The Funniest Four. Wednesdays, The Open Mic. Thursdays, My Voices Have Tourette's. Fridays, The Not So Secret Friday Show, hosted by Gisli Johan. Saturday, The Saturday Night Comedy Showcase, hosted by me, York Underwood. And Sunday is Silly Sunday Shenanigans, hosted by Bjartni, the Magician, and Thorhallur Thorhallsson. Thanks for tuning in, and tune in next week for the Secret Cellar Green Room podcast. Good night, or day, or whatever. Bye-bye.
Yeah, that's fun.
Yeah.